Welcome in to the Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. On today's show, we have overreactions from the Baltimore Ravens' loss to the Buffalo Bills. We'll get to all of those, and I'll share my thoughts in just a few moments from right now. Before we do that, though, it is Bengals week. We're on to Cincinnati here on the channel, and I've been told that there are some Bengal fans trying to infiltrate our channel, that they're trying to send some viruses through the dark web to attack our channel, and we can't let that happen. I've been told the only way to stop this viral attack from these Bengal fans is if we get to 7,300 subs. We are 23 subscribers away, so we need to put on the prevent defense and stop the Bengal fans from trying to take over this channel with all of their dark web evilness. We don't want to get shadow banned around here. Subscribe to the Ravens Rundown now. Help us get to 7,300 subscribers. YouTube.com/RavensTV to subscribe now. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. It is Overreaction Monday as the Ravens are handed their second loss of the 2022 season and are now 2-2 on the year. A game that was very winnable against the Bills on Sunday. Really, when you look at it, the Ravens had so many opportunities to win this game. And I want to go one by one with the overreactions here. Let's start with John Harbaugh. And one question that's been asked that's going around the interwebs today, has John Harbaugh lost his edge? Here's the deal, okay? When it comes to John Harbaugh, I am of the belief, I am on record, I've said this time and time again, that John Harbaugh is about the third best coach in the National Football League behind Bill Belichick and Andy Reid. But the truth of the matter is that the number one reason why the Baltimore Ravens lost on Sunday was because of John Harbaugh. He was a detriment to this team. He failed his players. He did not put them in the best position to succeed and win this football game. John Harbaugh is the number one reason why they lost. Look, I like John Harbaugh. He's a great guy. He's won a lot of football games. He's done a lot for this Ravens organization. But I brought the receipts today, folks. Let's go over this one by one of where exactly John Harbaugh failed the Baltimore Ravens this past weekend. During the Ravens' final drive, Harbaugh chose to challenge a close spot that would have given the Ravens a first down. They lost the challenge and proceeded to go for it anyways on 4th and inches, getting the first down while wasting a timeout. Okay? If the timeout was to be used, why not use it before the 4th down goal line play? Besides just the whole idea of which some people have a problem with the fact that they went for the touchdown there, and if you saw the way that Buffalo drove, it makes sense. Of all the issues with John Harbaugh, going forward on 4th down at the goal line at the end of the game is not the number one issue here. There's more to this, folks. Let's keep reading into this from John Harbaugh. When Buffalo drove down the field for the game-winning score, there was a moment with 1:53 left on the clock where the defense wasn't on the same page. As Devin Singletary ran the ball, most of the Ravens' defense let him pass, practically trying to push him into the end zone in order to give the offense time to score. Instead, Odafe Oweh came in screaming across the field to tackle Singletary 2 yards short of the goal line with a new set of downs. The Bills kneeled down, took the rest of the time off the clock, and kicked the field goal. But wait, there's more, okay? On the receipts with John Harbaugh here. Cornerback Marcus Peters clearly had some issues with Harbaugh. We're going to talk about Peters later. Just before the game-winning field goal attempt by Buffalo, the two were seen yelling at each other, and Peters had to be held back of sorts. Some sort of thing going on between those two here. So it adds up. Look, I like John Harbaugh. I really do. But John Harbaugh failed this team on Sunday, and he's the number one reason why they lost. So with that, I have to ask, you know my answer. I wouldn't do this. It was one bad night for John Harbaugh. I think he'll respond well. But should the Ravens fire John Harbaugh? Is that where we're at here at this point? I think that's a reach. That's an overreaction. But I do understand the frustrations. Type HY for hell yes, they should. Type HN for hell no they should. Let me know in the comments section if the Ravens should fire John Harbaugh. Overreaction number 2, the Ravens have no home field advantage. That is what some people are saying, some people are talking about. Now, let's bring you the numbers on this. Where does all this stem from? Well, this loss that the Ravens suffered was their 5th straight loss at the bank, dating back to last season. And in all 5 games, the Ravens lost by 4 points or less, and the game was decided in the final minutes. Look, I'm not blaming this on the fan base at all. Don't misinterpret that whatsoever. But I think sometimes we read too much, especially in the National Football League, into who's got home field and who doesn't. Because, quite frankly, for the Ravens, it hasn't meant much having home field. Now, here's a chance for fans and for everybody to kind of make a statement here. You got a home game on Sunday night against Cincinnati with Joe Burrow and company, a division rival coming into town. There's an opportunity to get your home field advantage and to really let that 12th man be heard there in Baltimore. Let's see. I think that's the real test when it comes to the home field. But as far as what we've seen the last few games, the Ravens have not used home field to their advantage. Again, not blaming the fan base at all, but for what you would think, a place they should be able to win, play at their best, that hasn't been the case for this Ravens team. Number 3, overreaction. An epic collapse, right? The loss wasn't the defense's fault. And I know that we've spent a lot of time on this show talking about Mike Macdonald, the new defensive coordinator there in Baltimore. And we know what Rex Ryan and some of the doubters had to say about Mike Macdonald in this defensive scheme the last couple of weeks. But the reality is that when you have only a defense given up 23 points to Josh Allen, who is one of the best young quarterbacks in all of football right now, you should win that football game. You absolutely should win. If I surveyed a number of teams across the league and I said, you're going to play Josh Allen and the Bills, and you're only going to give up 23 points, aren't you going to feel pretty dang good about your chances to win that football game? There is no excuse, and that's on the offense. The defense did their job. It wasn't necessarily all, cake and roses and everything here, but the offense, there's no reason why they should have been shut out in the second half like that they shouldn't have been able to put up points, that the way they just went missing, the way that they just went MIA like that should not happen. And that's not the defense's fault. Sure, the defense has cost the Ravens games this year, but it was not this week. That was on the offense. Now, I like the Ravens offense. Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews and company, this is a good group. This was the first big letdown of this group this season. Where does your confidence level go from here now with this Ravens group? Does it go from an 8 or 9 down to a 5 or 6 or even worse than that? Where's your confidence level with this group offensively? Scale it for me in the comment section, 1 through 10. Let me know. Today's show is presented by BetUS, the exclusive sportsbook partner of Chat Sports. And BetUS is offering a great deal, a promo code of Chat125 for a 125% deposit bonus. You put $100 down, you get $125 to spend for free when you go to chatsports.com/bet. You can bet on this weekend's action when the Ravens take on the Bengals. You can also bet on other NFL games, college football, and more. It's all in one place. Chatsports.com/bet. Another overreaction. Lamar Jackson out of the MVP race. Some people are talking. I think that's an overreaction. I'm not willing to go on that hill yet. But here were the statistics from Lamar on Sunday. Definitely his worst game of the season with 2 interceptions, less than 150 passing yards. He ran the ball solid, 73 rushing yards. But I'll say this much when it comes to Lamar Jackson. It was an off day, no question about it. And it wasn't necessarily even all his fault either by any means. But you can afford to have one bad day in the MVP conversation. Look, We're playing 17 games now. Aaron Rodgers won the MVP last year, missing a game. Okay? So, no, this is not the end of the road for Lamar Jackson and trying to win this MVP and getting his contract extension and all that. It was one bad outing. I think he's going to bounce back. He's going to be just fine. But I would not say that he's out of the MVP race. I know some of you were talking like it's all over, whatever it may be. But remember, at the end of the day, the goal for Lamar Jackson and this Ravens team is not about winning the MVP. It's about winning the Super Bowl. Eyes on the higher prize, folks. That's what really matters here. Last one. Time to trade Marcus Peters? After the whole scuffle with John Harbaugh and those two not being on the same page. Look, here's what I look at with Marcus Peters. That time that he had with Andy Reid in Kansas City was a roller coaster, right? He had some issues there. There was some disagreements, and ultimately he got traded. The Chiefs won a Super Bowl after they got rid of Marcus Peters. Marcus Peters now in Baltimore, and we've seen Kyle Fuller's not around anymore. He's out for the year. Marcus Peters, the defensive numbers last week, the grades against Buffalo, not bad, with that run defense grade 73.8, tackle grade 77.3. Look, I think you've got too many needs to even think about trading Marcus Peters. I wouldn't trade it. I know that we've seen people talk about it and that it's amped up, especially with this thing that went on with him and Harbaugh. But I think you got to mend fences. You got to make everything okay and come together as a group, as far as I'm concerned, that you got to work through this and you got to keep Marcus Peters around. If this team is going to contend, they need Marcus Peters there. There's more good that Marcus Peters can bring you than bad, personally. Now, I'm not saying that Marcus was in the right or the wrong either with how that was handled, but I'm not trading Marcus Peters. What say you? Let me know in the comments section if you would trade Marcus Peters. Type T for trade, type P for pass. Let me know, and we'll see you next time here on the Ravens Rundown.